Okay, so in our last video, I mentioned that in addition to whatever program files you create, whatever Java files you create that then become class files as input to your Java virtual machine, there are also these Java APIs, APIs class files, right? And there are some specialized Java API classes that I want to talk about in this video. So basically, the way that the these classes are organized, these and that become objects that you can access in your program when you run your program. There are some core tools and libraries at the bottom, and a library is just means a collection of classes, right, and tools. Similar idea that the things that you can access, like the system.out when we looked at right here. So system would be part of the core libraries. It's one of the basic things that you can do or use down here at the bottom. But then other technologies are built on top of those. And when we say built on top of those, it means that these technologies can make use of different classes and out of the libraries down here. But one of these technologies, actually two of these technologies we're going to be doing a lot of work with, are AWT and Java2D. So AWT is the Abstract Window Toolkit, which basically that's for your for GUI programming. Okay, and that's what's going to allow us to create windows and to draw in those windows. And also, what's cool is about these is that they can help us handle different events, like if the mouse, like a mouse click or a key press or something like that. The AWT will help us handle that. And the Java2D is a set of classes for more advanced 2D graphics. And we can actually create 3D effects just with drawing lines, right, in space. So we're going to make use of both of these quite a bit. So the first class that I want to talk about, so there's a bunch of classes that belong to AWT, and if you actually, let me look up Java API, and so that's your Java, and this is docs from Oracle, right? And notice there are these things called packages, and one of the packages is Java AWT. So if you click on Java AWT, interfaces we'll talk about later, but right now we're going to look at classes. And the class, so you see here it says classes. So right now we're looking at the Java AWT package and classes that belong to that. And the particular class that we want to look at right now is the frame. Okay, so I click on frame, and it gives me all kinds of details about the frame class. Okay, so I just wanted you to be aware that that documentation is out there, and also that the frame, you can see that the frame is part of the java.awt package. All right, so let's take a look at how we can create a frame. And we'll go back to our Hello World class. Now, one thing we saw that we're going to need to do here. So, system is part of our core libraries. Remember, we mentioned that there are core libraries down here. So, there's no special thing that we need to write to tell Java that I want to use system, because it's part of the core libraries. But AWT is not part of the core libraries, and we have this. We specifically have a java.awt package, and you'll see it right here, java.awt.frame. that we need to mention to Java so that it knows. Basically, it tells it where to go to get that class. Okay, so we're going to use the import Java.AWT.frame. Okay, so we're going to create a frame. Now, right now, we haven't made any mention of the frame class in here, so we get this little yellow indicator saying it's an unused import at this point, because that's right, we haven't used it yet. But what we can do is we can create a frame in here, and that's what I'll do. I'll just say, now the way that we create a variable in Java is we first write down the type. So it might be an integer, like if it's an integer we would just say int, right, and then put the variable name. Or if it was a Boolean, or if it was a string, right, we would say string and then the name. We want to create a frame. Okay, so we're going to say frame, and notice that the classes start with uppercase letters. You might in other places, like in some of Bucky's videos, see class names with a lowercase, but really in professional practice, and it's a good habit to get into, we capitalize the names of classes, and variable names are in lowercase. So I'm going to pause the video right now because I'm getting a phone call. So yeah, so let's create our frame and take another look real quick at the documentation. So the way that we create a new object is with a constructor. These are the constructors and their descriptions. A constructor is a particular kind of method, and the way to think about methods generally is like in math, right? You have a function definition. So here f of x equals x squared plus 1, and then you have an actual f of 2 equals 5. So then you actually plug in a number and get an actual value. So there's two parts. It's kind of like defining what the function is and then using the function. Okay, so there's a similar kind of thing with constructors. There's a definition. So this constructor, these methods are defined in the frame class. But what we're going to do is, and we'll look at method definitions and definitions of constructors a little later, but what we're going to do at this point is we're going to use this version of using the method. So you think of f as the actual constructor frame. So frame is defined someplace else, but we're going to actually use frame. The way that we use a constructor is by saying equals new and then the name of the constructor. And notice the name of the constructor is always the name of the class. So all the constructors have exactly the same name as the class. It's just that some of them can accept different values. So we could actually have pass it a title. In fact, let's do it that way. So this one says frame with an input of title constructs a new initially invisible frame object with the specified title. Okay, and that's important too, that the frame starts out as invisible. But let's give it a title. Let's call this our hello window. Okay, so the name of the window is going to be hello window. Okay, now if we try to run this right now, let's see what happens. We get our hello world, but no frame pops up, okay? Because there are other steps involved in making the frame come up. We'll talk about those in the next video.